Right to exist even if they call you monster. Reflection from American Horror Story. This word was developed after watching a popular American TV series entitled American Horror Story. With this series, I was inspired to develop my vision regarding people of different aspects. They are often marginalized, the simple reason that we find it difficult to accept their differences. There is no unique definition of beauty. For the Latin writer Seneca, a beautiful woman is not the one for which you praise the arms or legs, but one whose overall appearance is of such beauty to remove the possibility to admire the individual parts. With Seneca agreed the 18th century English poet Alexander Pope is not a lip or a night of what we call beauty, but the overall strength and the result of all parties. In the 18th and the first half of 90s, in circuses were fashioned so-called freaks, men with various deformity who appears as a freaks. Stefan Bukowski and Sumatra Supan suffered from hyperhidrosis, which covered the entire body with hair. Named Lion, he didn't want to see as a beast. Often he wore the best clothes to show that under his fur was a nice person. Also, Nest is proud to be the way she is and posing for pictures in the street and lends herself to video documentaries. But not all stories of freaks are beautiful, some heartbreaking, like that of Julia Pastrana. Woman Babu. Millions of women are exploited in the sea for a modicum of love. For the impresario Theodore Land discovered in the Mexican village and bought it, he realized that he was facing a beautiful mountain of money, made her perform in all fairs and theatre of England. They got married. With a sudden pregnancy, everything turned into a tragedy. She had a little girl who also covered with hair, but they died. Her agony didn't end with the deaths. Land used her and her daughter for a show. More still, he was an idiotic, athletic body, and for the features of his sweet face was given the nickname Angel. He suffered of acromegaly, the disease that caused giant stature and bulls. So he had to give up of his dream and career as a lawyer. He met a wrestling and who convinced him who tried this sport. Stephen Hawking, best known for the study of the black hole and the origin of the universe. If I were a fairy tale, the story of his life would start like something. There was a prophecy about the birth of a special child who would come to the world 300 years after the Greek Galileo died, thanks to a personality that made him able to overcome many obstacles, chief among them the illness that has taken control of his body, the motor neuron disease. Thanks to his effort and help of family and friends, he always finds new incentives. Nietzsche Vucinic is a fictional speaker born with phocomelia, a rare disorder characterized by the absence of arms and legs. Nick is a person who has taken the positive side of life. Even to those who ask him, "How did you have a child?" he replied, "I didn't know that to make a child takes both arms and feet." Even the strength of his wife to recognize about the question if your children were like Nick, what will you do? And he said, I will love them more and they will have the best father in the world. Edward Mordrag was born with craniofacial duplication. According to the history, the posterior face didn't speak but still called loud and cried. He lived in absolute retreat imposed by himself. He constantly watched but still poisoned dying. He left a letter thanking his family for the love he received and made one last request, that his demoniac face was destroyed after his funeral, as not continued as grisly whispered in the grave. For an early request, he was buried in the wasteland without headstone of his grave. John Wayne Gacy, he used to call Pogo the Clown, a character he created himself when he dressed up as a clown for a social activity in which he participated. He passed to the history of the United States as one of the most serial killers. What the murder clown put on the press was a staccanovist of crime, torture, murder, and buried them under his house. It was the inspiration for a character twisting. For some people, clowns represent their most nightmares. The fear of them is called chlorophobia and has increased the popularity in recent decades. Movies like Poltergeist and It of Stephen King portray them as supernatural and terrifying creatures. The makeup is considered a mask of a true personality, which was prone countless artists, filmmakers to exploit this phenomenon. Marie Delphine Lalaurie was a socialite and killer who became famous for torturing and killing a large number of slaves. On April 1834, firefighters who had answered a fire in her mansion discovered several slaves tied inside the house that show evidence of having been tortured. The house was ransacked by a mob of angry citizens. It is believed that he fled to Paris and spent the rest of her days. In 2015, the mansion still stands, an iconic building. Marie Laveau was proclaimed Queen Voodoo after she started practicing voodoo and managed to attract the influence of many rich women in New Orleans, and her power and fame grew. Her grave is in the cemetery of St. Louis, New Orleans, and visited of millions of fans because it's one of the great attractions. When we hear the word voodoo, the first thing that comes into mind are images of dolls with pins. It's one of the oldest religions bought by slaves. It was bought in Louisiana by Cuban plantation owners who were displaced by revolution and brought with the slaves. So far, we talked about how we look at people with disabilities, but now look about things we can't see, objects flying or moving by themselves, pictures who fall, and strange voices that break the silence. The cause, evil spirits, generally called poltergeists. Many haunted houses are home to the performer owners or residents who experience traumatic deaths. When we talk about supernatural, a few words come immediately to mind, and Amityville is one of them. In 1965, the Fair family bought a house on Ocean Avenue, 112. They hoped to live a quiet life, but had family problems caused by the eldest son, Ronald Bunch Jr., who was addicted to drugs. Everything changed on November 13, 1974. With a mass murder, Ronald, for an unknown reason, killed his entire family with a rifle.